how I started my copywriting career. Yeah, so it's really ironic and just like full circle of how it's all come together is I knew I was a really good writer. I always got really positive feedback, and it's a passion I wanted to pursue, but I just didn't know how to like make it work. And so eventually I like Googled it, right? Because that's what you do when you don't know.
Yeah.
um, and then I got hit with a bunch of ads for copywriting courses, and I was like, okay, I think this is for me. Like, I think I really can see myself doing this. And so I clicked the ad, I like went through the funnel, I bought the course, I did it, started getting experience, and then found that like I really love helping course creators.
Mm.
And so now I love doing the copywriting for, the whole funnel from ad to, emails to sales page, because I'm proof that like it works. Like it really can transform a person's life. Like I changed my whole career based on this copywriting course that I took. And so I just really believe in the power of coaching and courses, and just when you really like are able to speak, the messaging speaks to the right person. It can be super powerful. So I'm thrilled to be able to now do that for other people now as a copywriter.
Wow, that's awesome. And just curious that I think a lot of people are trying to enter into copywriting, and one major thing they are trying to figure out is that what's the base skill? Like, in my perspective, I think a good English knowledge would be a great thing if you're writing for English. Mostly, people write into copywriting for English creators or whatever. Do you think it's the same thing, or do you have any other base skill that people should have to start with?
Yeah. So really, it's a lot of psychology. Like if I feel like if people were going to major in something like in college or university, they think like they should be an English major or creative writing major, and like
Yeah.
really not really. That should not be what you're going for. I think if I had to do it all over again, knowing what I know now, psychology is super helpful. Like understanding the buyer psychology and where people are at. Taking a class on becoming like a therapist or a counselor was one of the most helpful things I did. I had no intention of doing that with my career, but it just opened my eyes so much to really like more empathy and how people think, and how to really relate to people, and like to write good copy. That's what you need to do. And do it in a way that's ethical and not taking advantage of people and manipulating people with your words, because copywriting is so powerful and it can be used for better or for worse. And I really want to make sure that it's used for better.
Understood. I think that's an interesting take, because I think a lot of people would definitely buy copywriting courses, and I don't think a lot of courses mention anything about you should know about have empathy. I think that word is something a lot of courses might not have. They just tell you that there are tools out there, to write great headlines. They have an overview of okay, this is what you need to do. But yeah, I think that's a pretty interesting take for the copywriters to move forward with. Awesome. So yeah, sure, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to agree that like it needs to be out there more, because you're right. It's not, and it's very, I don't know, kind of like bro marketing as they say, and like just kind of like trying to be persuasive and trying to go for the sale. And like, yes, ultimately you obviously do want to make sales. That's the end goal. But if you do it in, an ethical and an empathetic way, you're going to get better sales and more aligned people. And then people are just going to come word of mouth because you're getting the right people in your programs.
Understood. Yeah, that makes sense. And this is so. I think a lot of people would be really plucking their heads off, because there are ways that people can understand what is the difference between content writing and copywriting. The reason being is that copywriter get paid a lot, because I'll just tell you one small instance. I don't remember the name of the guy, but there's this guy on Instagram, some Jason. I don't know what his name was. So he was talking a lot about copywriting, back in I think 2017 or something, where how that would be $1 million business. And Dan Lok was there. I remember that guy, mentioning a lot of this copywriting and stuff. So, but they never mentioned something called content writing. I mean, but we in my company, when we hire people, content writers, but what's a major difference, do you think, that copywriting and content writing?
Yeah, so a lot of people use them interchangeably, and they're not. A lot of copywriters are also content writers, but copywriting is really what sells, whereas content writing is more of informing, educating, entertaining, instructing, like a how-to article, something like that. And of course, there is some overlap, but copywriting is really more directly correlated to the sale. I like it better because it uses the data. It's more measurable. And there are some measurable things about content writing as well, but it's really like more direct with copywriting, more direct with the sale at least. So for example, like content would be like blogs or ebooks, white papers, things like that, whereas copywriting is more like ads, emails, and sales pages.
Understood. So I think copywriters will be paid more, right, rather than content writing in most of cases.
In most cases, yes, because you can make the argument more directly for, well, here's the ROI you would get, if so. So typically, a copywriter, would make more.
Understood. Yeah, that makes sense. Now, just entering into this overview of main contents or copies that people ask for, is this blogs or sales page or landing page for all that matter. Just want to touch upon this factor that I think blog writing is kind of extremely saturated. I mean, there are like literally, I think I read a stat saying that it's like 44 point some million blogs are being published every single day on the web. So that's like a huge amount. I mean, I don't know how much of that is true, but I think still some level of million blogs will definitely published every single day. But to stand out in case, as a copywriter or content writer for that matter, how do you think you would approach? Just with touch points, that would be great.
Yeah, so for blogs, I mean, you can look at anything and feel like, oh, it's so saturated. Oh, there's no room for me. It's like a very common imposter syndrome type of feeling. But the truth is, there's only one of you, and there's people who are going to very directly connect with you and your personality and your experiences and your background. So like I'm a copywriter, and there's a million other copywriters out there, but I tend to attract people who are just similar to me. They are also moms. They have kids. They maybe were formerly teachers and then turned into some sort of entrepreneurship. So they mirror my story in some aspect or another, or like they also do yoga or were an athlete, or things like that. So I think sharing bits and pieces of your personality in your copy or in your blog writing helps attract the right people to you and the people that share your values. And it really makes room so that you're kind of like in a category of one, or like you are in a category of your own, rather than feeling like you're one of 44 million people out there trying to do the same thing. So I think incorporating your personality is first and foremost like so important, just to align your values with your readers and attract the right people. And then another thing that's really important is, like, for blogs, doing the SEO, like keyword research, is really powerful to make sure that you get seen and just get leads while people are searching for you, and you don't have to post on social media, or more outbound, like it's more inbound rather than outbound. People are coming to you rather than you reaching out to people. And so I have over the years just created swipe files for like hooks and how to start a blog, CTAs to use, and customizable frameworks for like each different like type or different styles of blogs, like more of like an article or a how-to, a listicle, ask the expert, things like that, like different types of blogs, just to like vary it up and make it faster to write, because I think writing can take up so much of our time, and there's always more copy and content writing than people expect. They're like, oh yeah, I can do that. And like, they can do it, and maybe they even enjoy writing and they're good at it, but that still does not necessarily mean that it's the best place for you in your business. If you're a coach, you need to be coaching, not spending your time necessarily always writing. So I feel like a lot of my clients, like, they're great copywriters and and of themselves. That's why they've had the success that they have. But it's time, like, their brain power, their creativity can't be split between their clients and their marketing. So I kind of like download their brain, so to speak, and write in their voice so that it's seamless and the readers don't know that it's someone else doing the
Yeah.
writing. And I love it because it's fun to like so deeply connect with someone to the point where like I'm writing in their voice, in their personality, and I just kind of consume all of their blogs, content, videos, stories, posts, YouTube, like whatever it is that they put out. I just consume all of it so that I can seamlessly like take on their authentic voice.
Understood. I think a lot of people actually do this because big brands mainly. I don't think they would have their own words. I mean, like quotes or anything. I think the thought leaders would be saying that. But other than all the tips and tricks and all the things, I think someone else has to write. But I think you gave a little clarity on how to do that also. Like to listen to everything what they're saying and listen to their videos or podcasts or whatever that they did. I think that would also give them a better idea. But just curious, since you have worked in funnels and everything as well, how much do you think blogs will actually generate with the lead perspective? Do you think people still running ads on blogs for generating leads, even it's B2B or B2C, whatever for that matter? Do you think people are still using that for it?
I feel like it's kind of ebbed back and forth of like blogs were really popular like 10 years ago, and then it was kind of like not so much, and that like social media kind of took over, and then I feel like the trend is now trending back towards blogs because people are sick of like having to show up every day and they just want to live their life without like having to publicize it to everybody. And I think the appeal of SEO is really strong, that you can just create something once and it lives forever, and it's evergreen. Like it'll attract people for as long as Google exists.
Yeah.
And so that's really appealing, of like you're not constantly churning out content that lives for like 24 minutes or whatever the algorithm
Yeah.
is on social media. Like it's going to live for years on Google. And it also helps you serve people better, because when you understand the keyword research for the search engine optimization, like what people are asking about, and you can then use your expertise to give them the answers that they're looking for, rather than just guessing or trying to use your intuition or speaking from your own experience, but really like applying your experience to exactly what they want to know. Then you can serve them at a higher level.
Understood. And I think because one thing I tried is that while running ads, the quality of the leads sometimes, based on whoever is reading the ad might come. Because and moreover, I think a lot of people will fully read the blog, because I'm actually a content manager in my company, and then I have a group of writers who does all these things. I don't know whether people fully read the blog, from end to end. I mean, they would definitely read the H2s and H3s. That's definitely for sure.
Yeah.
But they would read the full blog entirely, something that I've always considered. But when we got leads from the box, I was like, okay, fine. We are getting leads. Then I think, okay, we should write at least a good thing for the Google at least, because like Google is like pushing the updates as much as possible. And, we need to make use of that. Yeah, I think based on the people's intent and everything, that's like a huge ocean to, take out of, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're right. Using like the subheadings will help, like even the skimmers get through the article, even if
Yeah.
they don't read it like fully, like they're not, studying it like it's an academic thing, but they're probably like on their phone reading it. Right. So we write to cater to like knowing that our reader, is probably skimming it first. And then, I would use like open hooks as well to just kind of keep their curiosity throughout the article, keep them reading, wanting to know more to get to the end of it.
Yeah.
And then like thus keeping them on the page longer, and then boosting your authority, like domain authority.
Yeah, I think the Google just constantly says that a few factors, like this is something that matters and that does not matter. But this is one opinion I had. No matter what Google says, I think ultimately some user coming into your page, just write for them. It doesn't matter what Google is saying. I think ultimately that's a machine which finds good content. Then yeah, it will rank. If people is finding that, it will rank. So Yeah, I think I think a lot of people would agree, especially the SEO people. I always had a fight with my SEO people, as they will be like, we need to optimize it with keywords and everything. I was like, no, just write what's useful for them. It might work. There's a high possibility. So yeah, I think that's a major factor there.
Totally.
Awesome. So, I think this topic must definitely would have touched you somewhere. Probably people would have asked you in LinkedIn or anywhere. This AI writing tools, because when Chat GPT-3 came or Jasper came, everyone was like, "Oh my God, that's it! Content writers or copywriters, you're done. You're finished. All the creativity is lost and everything." But before I just mentioning my thoughts, please, I will love to let you know if people contacted you, or what do you think this future will evolve for the copywriters with the AI and everything?
Yeah, so yeah, that's like the hot topic right now is AI. What's going to happen? Does that displace the copywriters, the content writers? And I think the overwhelming, I mean, from what I've experienced of it and the feedback I've gotten as well, is it's never going to replace a
Mhm.
human. You cannot replace human creativity. So it's not something to fear, but I think it is something that we can leverage. Um, we can't hide from it. We can't just like bury our heads and pretend this isn't happening. But we can adapt with it and move forward with it and use it as just one of the tools in our pocket to write better copy or content.
Mhm.
So I think just saying, oh, write this, and then like poof, it appears. Like it doesn't work like that. Like you have to know what prompts to enter, and like it's a skill to even be able to use the AI, um, and then take what it has written, and then there's almost always some editing to be
Mm.
done. You have to test it, and then maybe tweak it from there. So it's never just like wave the magic wand, poof, okay, here's this like magically converting thing.
Yeah.
um it doesn't work like that, so it requires humans to use it. um so it's, I don't know, it's interesting. I don't know, like I've not really used it and like published from it yet. I don't know. It's like because what I've been doing with my own creativity, like it's been working. It's been getting results. So I'm like, if it's not broken, don't fix it, right?
Yeah.
So like I don't want to chase shiny objects, but at the same time, I don't want to miss this opportunity to level up as
Mm.
well. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand on that for now. And that might change in a couple of months as
Yeah.
this whole thing evolves, but that's where I'm at right now.
Cool. And I think, just to add to that point, I actually use Jasper. I really wanted to try out if that is speeding up the content process. But I think as an AI is just evolving it, because, even for Google, after years, after decades, they still kind of get a report saying that Google, around 30% of people are not satisfied with Google searches. But one SEO
Mm,
expert said that, maybe they are not searching it correct, but considering is as a decade, I think even if you type like what for example what copywriting means, then you should understand what is copywriting. So that level, it
mm,
knows what is the word. So I think the AI will definitely take like a decade or two, but I think with regarding to the change or optimization, so the request that we ask for another human would definitely lag a lot, because more than creativity, you need connection, that if you say something, person should understand that time itself, rather than it's taking a lot of
mhm.
time to process and then get a result or something that you don't want to. So yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
that's where a lot of people would definitely ditch AI for now. The positioning of Jasper has been is like, they will say, you can write a whole sales page in 20 minutes, but oh, trust me, that's like the most worst marketing message that I ever had. I tried it, it's not working out. So yeah, I think like you mentioned, it will evolve, maybe in 2 months or even in a year or 10 years. I think down the line we will definitely get to know about that. Definitely.
Mhm.
Wait, so and one point you mentioned, before going into the important part of the recording, I think one point you mentioned is that one of your target audience is like moms at home, and people who want to who turn from teacher to everything.
Mhm.
So basically, I think I interviewed a lot of podcast managers in another one of my podcast, and I found that a lot of women out there who are doing podcast management, who are starting it. So, how profitable do you think this niche can be, and how sustainable do you think this work can be for them? Because if there are a lot of people, who are stay at homes and they just want to explore something, they don't want to sit at home, but they want to do a lot of things. So, how sustainable do you think this is for them?
Yeah, I mean, it really is what you make it to be. And there's so much just like internal work
Hmm.
to be done of like believing that you're worthy of doing this and that your writing really is, good enough and can get results for
Hmm.
people, and just seeing yourself as um like really a partner with the business owner pushing their business forward, rather than like, oh, I'm just a freelancer, or like really getting out of that employee mindset of, I work for so many dollars per hour
Hmm.
kind of a thing, but really knowing the value of your offer and having the confidence to be able
Hmm.
to charge accordingly. Because I found that like you are a better writer when you're not stressed about paying the bills, or when you're being paid like pennies per word. Like you're a better writer when you're afforded the margin for creativity, because creativity requires some white space,
Yeah.
and some space to think. And if you're freaked out about, paying your rent or your mortgage, because you're not being paid enough as a writer, then it's just this vicious cycle, and it doesn't work. So I think writers really do need to be paid well to produce good writing that's actually going to work for you, because just like anything, like you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're paying super super cheap, then like you might have to expect to
Yeah.
do a lot of edits or not get as high quality of work. But if you want someone who's really going to research your voice and your vibe and your, values and your offer and do it well, then that takes time to, to do so. And it takes effort and just space,
Hmm.
to do that. And if the client still makes a healthy profit from your services, like it's a win-win all
Yeah.
around, right? So I really believe that copywriters can and should and need to be paid well for their words. Um, but too often, from copywriters that I've mentored, um, a lot of women, a lot of moms, or want to be moms one day, it really just comes down to confidence and believing in yourself and not letting fear talk you out of it. Because
Hmm.
so often we think like, oh, who am I to do this? Or like, but I'm just like, we talk ourselves out of it and give ourselves so many reasons why, not us, or not like it, maybe other people, but not me. And like to really stop playing small to accommodate the fear of other people's expectations, because
Hmm.
writing is such a gift, and people who love to write, like the world needs that gift. And
Yeah.
I think especially in this day and age, like people really want that authenticity. People really appreciate not being sold to, and to be able to copyright in a way that sells but doesn't feel like they're being sold to, because you're really just attracting the right people. And when
Yeah.
you are able to do that with the empathy that we talked about at the beginning, that's so powerful and so sought after. um yeah, and can really only be accomplished like once you're serving from a place of being filled up. Like I
Hmm.
have the time to be with my family, be with my kids, and also write. But if I felt like writing was taking me away from, the thing that I love, it would be harder to write really well.
Yeah.
um so being able to create that margin for creativity has been so powerful to really produce good, high quality work and turn it around at, relatively quickly. And
Hmm.
it's hard to do both of those things. Um, so it's like you can either like get a fast turnaround time, get high quality work, or get it super cheap. But you can only choose two of those three things. Like you can't have all three. So if you want high quality work and a fast turnaround, it's not going to be cheap. But again, you
Hmm.
get what you pay for. So if you're really willing to pay, and I don't know, like I don't even see it as like you're paying for it or like a high price tag, because the ROI always covers it.
Yeah.
Like you're like making a profit, and then obviously we're getting paid to, do the work that we do writers. So I really just see it as a win-win partnership all around.
Understood. And as you mentioned, the ROI always pays it. I think, from the client side, I think they always have the way to measure the results. Like, for example, when
Yeah.
you publish the blog, then, whether is he getting traffic or is he optimized, then based on that, they can give feedback and everything to that as well. And I think from the client side, they should also provide some level of, clearance or, clarity that, this is how
Hmm.
it should be done would also be in a better manner. Correct.
Hmm.
Awesome. So, is it morning or evening there? What time is it?
Noon here.
Noon. Okay. Cool. So, this is an out of the box question I always ask my guest. So, who was actually the first person that you made smile today?
Ooh, that's a good question. I have an infant, so when he wakes up and I get him out of his crib, he's always waving and smiling at me. So it's super sweet and a great way to to wake up. So I'm really enjoying this stage.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that would be a good morning for him as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. So, just coming on to the final topic of the recording, I think this is what something that I really got attracted to, and I think a lot of people would definitely love to hear about this. That writing a sales page, because I think a lot of people really struggle, finding the right words or to make it not more salesy rather than telling information and educational content even in the sales page itself. So, you mentioned that within a few hours we can write a sales page or landing page. So would love to hear from you, like, how to do that and stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the number one thing I get is like, I can do it, but like it just takes me forever, or
Yeah.
it just takes so long and their time is better spent doing other things. So to write a sales page quickly, I never start from a blank page. I start from what I've created as I call it a kickstart. It's like a template, but better. I hesitate to use the word template because I think so many people have such a terrible experience of using templates, and so many clients have come to me saying, "Oh, I tried to use this like do-it-yourself template and it just didn't work. It didn't convert. It didn't sound like me. It's horrible. Like I wish, I could get my money back and didn't have to pay for it. And now I'm paying for, a real copywriter on top of the template." Um, and so there's definitely some good templates out there and some bad templates, but it's like if you talk to a copywriter, like none of us start from blank page. We always start from a template likely that we've created. I don't know. At least I've created all of my own, just from my experience in my industry. Um, and I fill mine with swipe files and examples. So it's more of a customizable framework so that each client sounds unique and uniquely them in their voice. I think a lot of people offer like the plug and play templates, which those are the ones I've seen the most complaint and problem with because yes, they're quick and easy, which is what people want, but they don't actually convert.
Yeah.
Like no one's had like, oh, I've had, a 5-figure launch off these plug and play templates. Like, no, I've never heard that. So like, yes, they sound quick and easy and solve that like short-term problem, but they're not going to solve the ultimate problem of like actually selling your stuff. So I have templates that I use that give me the framework of like a starting point. So I know exactly what, options of what I can write for like how to introduce the sales page. I have a swipe file for, 200 headline options that have worked, that are proven. And then I look through those for inspiration, and then customize it to make it work for that particular client, or whoever I'm writing for. I have like a swipe bank of calls to action. So if they are more direct of like buy now, get instant access, or if they don't want to be quite so forward, maybe it's more of like a learn more and see if this is right for you. So it's just a range of like how aggressive they want to pursue. And there's no right or wrong answer there. It just depends on that client's style. So it just gives me a good range to work with, examples of like I save sales pages that I really like or ones that have converted really well in the past. So I'm operating off of things that have been proven to work, proven to convert, and I don't have to like, it's less creative. Like I don't have to think of these things myself, but I can know, based on the data, based on past evidence, that this stands very good chance of working. And knowing my industry so well, I know what, like, okay, well, everyone says that, but like, here's the part that is really unique to you. Let's emphasize this. Like, this is really your unique selling proposition, and to bring more to that. And that comes with the experience. So I start with like a template, but I really bring my experience into it, as well as the client's unique voice, and that combined together helps me write it quickly, but also in a way where it works, it converts, and it's really powerful. So I like templates because you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? No reason to do that. It's just like I put all the puzzle pieces on the table, and then writing the sales page is just putting the pieces together. Whereas like if I didn't start with a template, it'd be like I have to like design the whole puzzle, cut out the pieces, like what, you don't do that, right? So why would you do that with your writing? So using a good template, and again, I like hesitate to use that word because so many people have different connotations with it and they're often negative, but using more of like a customizable framework, I think, might be a better way to do it. I call it a kickstart, because then you're not ever writing from a blank page. You have like, okay, I can just write, the introduction, or I can just write about the product. And if you take it one section at a time, rather than looking at this whole like overwhelming thing of like, it's like a long form sales page, how do I write all like 10 pages on a Google Doc? Like how? It's really overwhelming. And this breaks it down into, well, I can just do this chunk, and then that chunk has your first draft, and then, okay, I can do this chunk. And it's just much more manageable, and less overwhelming, and just like you just don't get writer's block because you have so many resources and you break it down into small pieces too.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's pretty much explains a lot of things to write in a faster manner. Just touch upon one small thing is that in that whole context, the one word which I kind of find it really hard for the people to understand is that the originality. Like they will say, you have to write original content. Just in my words, I think original content, per se can be like, you know, sometimes there are content already written. Like, there's people will say that there are only 49 original ideas or something in the world. Everything is just taken from there. People say that, right? So you can't do another idea. Maybe you can find another word for it. But what is your actually version of this original copywriting, or original content that's been written by people? I mean, a new idea is fine, but something that's a competitor is doing, then we just can't put different words, right? Or do you have any other version of what is this original content is all about?
Yeah, so obviously you never want to like copy or plagiarize someone's work, but like if you're expressing the same idea, like I didn't invent how to like write a sales page, right? Like I learned from a mentor, and my mentor learned from a mentor, and that mentor learned, like,
Yeah.
so everyone learned from somebody else. But when you explain it in your own way and put it in your own words, then it's going to like the light bulb is going to go off in someone's head because of the way you explained it, versus the way someone else might have explained it. So if you think of like being in school, like maybe you really like this one teacher because of the way they explain things, but someone else is like, no, I don't like that teacher at all. I like this teacher and the way they explain things. And like, it just, different people are going to resonate with different ways of, explaining things. And so it just comes down to like, you're going to attract your people when you use your own authentic voice. And so I think when you are true to that, and you're not trying to be someone else, you're not trying to be, that mentor, that influencer, that thought leader, and you're really just being you and explaining it in your way, from your background, using your, examples, then it is original to you.
Okay, I think original to you might be the major word here, because I think people have to understand, like, because I just had this one thing, like when we write some original content from our company, there's the same page that some of our competitors would have taken it, and I would be like, why did he do that? Because that brings down the total originality, that okay, who is the person who actually wrote it first? So I think it's all about to you more than to someone else, at least while reading it itself. Yeah. Great. So Megan, thank you so much for spending the time here, and it's been really awesome. So tables turned. Is there anything else that you want to ask me?
Ooh, no one ever gives me that opportunity on the podcast usually. That's a great question. Um, oh gosh. Um, I feel like this was such a thorough conversation. I feel like the questions were really great. And a good conversation of like back and forth on like the AI and the blogs and like what does original actually mean. Um, yeah. What's the number one thing that your clients ask for or like want out of your content
Yeah.
or copy?
Sure. So I think we are actually a company working in the blockchain and AI spaces, and whenever we do writing, the major hurdle that I face while managing the content is that the correctness. To be honest, the blockchain and AI
Mm,
space has been growing really a lot, and we write a lot about metaverse and everything. And since it's kind of a very futuristic technology, based
mm-hmm,
on someone's thought leaders, a thought leader's words can become true or cannot become true. So we always need to write in this
mm,
perspective that it can happen or it may not happen. Like whether metaverse,
right.
with Facebook, will they evolve or will they die? It may or may not happen. We cannot make a statement very clearly, and that's something that I can,
Mm,
in my industry at least, need to be very clear. And I've seen a lot of blogs saying that this will surely happen. I don't even know how they are writing it, because I mean, how can you even be so sure that it will happen? Because it's a very futuristic thing, any tech for that matter. So yeah, I think that's the number one thing, that you need to understand that no matter how much of an expert or how much of someone, I mean, unless you are Bill Gates or unless you are a Zuckerberg who has done decades of work, that you cannot mention everything very clearly that okay, this will happen no matter what. We can always be speculative. That's why whenever I write content on LinkedIn, I will say, okay, this is what's happening. So this may happen. This is my opinion. I don't need to have an experience on it. I just have an opinion on it. So yeah, I think that's one thing. A lot of thing, even while rating ads, I've seen people, while I click the ad, I book the slot. When I ask them the question, I tell them that I saw this ad. You said you just can give an estimate in 2 days. Would it be possible for you to do that? We might. They will say, then why did you put that? You can't do that. Then why did you put that? So yeah, I think that's one thing that I really want. Love to have the copywriters in their mind. So yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's good. I think yeah, people do that because they want like for their credibility, but then at the same time, it's like, well, you need to be humble and all truthful. Like truth comes, first in in anything really. So that's good. I appreciate that answer. That's good.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a really good question. So thanks so much for asking that.
Yeah.
Great. So, Megan, so if people want to find you or your services, what would be the best place? My audience would love to hear that.
Yeah, the best is to probably connect with me either on Facebook or LinkedIn, just under my name, Meghan Catchigan, or my website as just meghancatchigan.com.
Got it. So, guys, I'll definitely leave the links below, so you can definitely go and check them out. So, in case if you just tell her that if you have gone through any one of my links, please tell her that. I think she'll be very happy to hear that as well. So,
Yes,
yeah.
definitely.
So awesome. Thanks so much, Megan. And guys, I'll see you next episode.
Thanks.